Ready?
This one here was pretty good. It was a little bit on the drier side for me, but it was still a good rib, cooked fairly well. This one here had good flavor. It was cooked very well. The third one here was cooked pretty well, a little overdone for my taste, but it was still a good rib. Now we got to go over here. This one was done. This one was a little overdone, but it still had really good taste.
Score up or down.
A little mushy for me, which was the overdone part.
We'll get into the couple of these things.
This one here was very good. It was done really well, and the flavor was good. I'm pretty sure that one was my favorite rib right there. This one was a little overdone too. It was a little mushy, a little overdone, but still had not bad flavor. And the last one was, the taste had a little bit of like a lighter fluid taste to it. I could taste it in there, and it was tough. And it was tough. It wasn't done to the proper. I think it was a little undercooked maybe even. But overall, the ribs were pretty good. We had a couple of them that were undercooked and a couple of them that were maybe a little dry, but other than that, they were all pretty good ribs.
That one you hit the lighter fluid one, exactly.
Which one?
Yeah. The end one.
Which one?
The last one.
As far as on the overall appearances, these three were the winners in here.
In appearance, yes.
Yeah. These three, everybody scored accordingly. What I look for when I'm judging a rib, first of all, I'm going to use this one because she's not going to take the samples. But usually what I do is I try to pull away the meat. Okay, now, and if I pull it away, okay, that's fine. It's not really falling off the bone, but it is pulling away fairly easy. So you score on that one. This one here,
How would you score?
that one there, I'd score it. As far as tenderness, it's not perfect, but it's not bad. It's a good rib. It's an excellent rib. As a matter of fact, I can personally tell you, I gave it a very good score. I don't know what you did, but when I look for when I bite off a rib, and you remember when the rules said the dry spot. These are the dry spots I look for. I also take the rib and I try to pull it. If I can't pull it like this away from the bone, you see all that meat that's there? That's undercooked. To me, that's undercooked. I like it a little bit more when you pull it away. This is almost perfect. You see along here, and you see the bite mark? You just took one bite mark and you didn't have anything in your mouth. When you take a complete bite mark and all of the meat falls off, it's obviously overcooked, very overcooked. So what you try to look for is in your bite mark, within your bite mark, did it dry, was it nice and hot? But I also like to try to pull it. This pulls perfect. See how that pulls away from that bone? That's to me, that tenderness, that's a perfect pull on the rib. And then of course you get it's a little bit cold now, so it doesn't dry as quickly. But that's typically what you look for when you pull from a rib. This one here was a good rib. Any one of those ribs is a good rib. This one could have been a little bit on the mushy side, but it still was an excellent rib. Now watch when that pulls. There's not much meat there, but when you pull from the bone, it pulls perfect.
It wasn't a nice texture. It was a mush.
This one here, everybody picked this one and this one, and usually a professional team or a team that's experienced, they come out, the first thing they do is they'll cut this right along this bone. And they'll cut that, and this becomes ribbons, rib ends. And they'll cook them up the night before. But that's just nothing but knuckle meat, pretty tough. You don't want to ever, when you're judging, anything that you put on a plate is subject to judge. Okay? You might be one of them judges that grab this end, and it's absolutely terrible. But typically what they'll do is they'll trim them up, and then they fit so nice and neat in a box. I'm trying to get one. Right here is one that's been tripped up. Nice and neat in that box. And you saw them, they look pretty good versus these two dinosaur bones. They're not experienced, they haven't been through a cooking school, they haven't learned to cut off that, trim that meat, make rib ends, and cook it up for the cook that night or something. But
that's why I bit here, and I didn't bother with that.
And you see everybody else bit in the same area. They really did bite in the same area. And this is to judge it, first of all, you bit in the right area. It was tough, and you can see why it's tough. Look at all the meat that's hanging on the bone.
I don't think they took the veal off.
A lot of the back part, the skin, it looks like you're right. See, here it is. I'm pulling that.
They didn't
Right
take
here's
the veal off.
right here's the membrane.
Yeah.
Okay.
They didn't take it off.
So they, you know, ifs, ands, okay, they cook a little bit better and they bite a little better, but you should, most of all the teams out here pull that membrane. Well, obviously, this is somebody that hasn't been to a cook school or is a first or second time cook out there, and they didn't pull a membrane.
Right.
But obviously, the first thing is the cut of the meat. The cut of the meat. They just don't look very well. That looks like a dinosaur bone in a box.
Yeah.
Very much dinosaur. That's my 2 cents worth on ribs.